Hello and welcome to a new episode on Sadhana World Foundation. As you know, we care about crafting young lives. We present stories drawn from the lessons in history and mythology which are anchored on moral values. We think that these stories contain a significant amount of moral teachings which our young children and adults can inculcate and become stronger and better human beings. We have been talking about leadership qualities. All of us want our young to learn those leadership practices and become strong leaders as they grow up. We want them to be able to influence the thinking and the action of many other people in this world. So, what are these leadership characteristics? We have so far talked about 6 of them. Just as a quick reminder, we said that the leaders who are well respected by people, they are the people of integrity. They demonstrate consistently high standards of morality all the time. We said that they are all visionary, they are resilient, they are adaptable, they are self-confident. Leadership is not limited to these 6 qualities. Today we will speak about the 7th dimension, which is about emotionally intelligent leaders. The leaders that we all respect are emotionally intelligent. What does emotional intelligence mean? Emotional intelligence is all about being self-aware, knowing what is gripping our mind, knowing about one's beliefs, knowing about one's thoughts, knowing about what's running in one's mind, being self-aware, knowing about one's strengths, knowing about one's pressure points and weaknesses. It's also about controlling one's feelings and emotions so that one doesn't overreact, one doesn't utter words that one has to regret later. Emotionally intelligent people are the ones who are able to empathize, who are able to listen to the other person and feel the emotions that the other person is going through. What happens if somebody is self-aware, if somebody is able to control one's own feelings, and what happens one is able to demonstrate high standards of empathy? One is able to strike great relationships, and if you are able to strike great relationships, you are able to influence many people in this world. Hence, it's very important to be emotionally intelligent. This is not the only benefit of being self-aware or being emotionally intelligent. There is another benefit. The second benefit of strong emotional intelligence is that one himself or herself goes through less levels of stress, and hence one is able to articulate better, one is able to become much more productive than one can be if one loses self-control. Let's look into some of these historical and mythological characters. Think of Nelson Mandela, the leader who fought against apartheid. He was imprisoned by the powers for 27 long years. He comes out of the prison and is able to unite a large variety of ethnic groups and communities in South Africa and is able to again establish himself as the leader of that country. And of course, during the 27 long years, he was consistent in exhibiting the standards of morality that he remained committed to. That was against apartheid, that was for equality. So he was able to integrate the communities of a wide variety of people in South Africa because he was emotionally intelligent. He was able to keep his frustration, anger, disappointment, and various such negative emotions which would have crossed his mind time and again during those 27 long years of imprisonment. And he was able to exhibit consistently high standards of morality because of this emotional intelligence. Think of the mythological character Odysseus from the Greek mythology, the number of battles that he has won, the number of battles that he went to, and all of them he was able to demonstrate a strong sense of wit, wisdom, and the decisions that he was able to make were all possible because of his high levels of emotional intelligence. Let me pick up one more mythological character, that's King Solomon. I'm sure all of us have heard of King Solomon, who was very famous for the way in which he was ruling the kingdom. This is a character from the Hebrew Bible. This story is about two women who claimed to be mothers of the same child. When you are the king, you have to decide who's the real mother. How does a king decide? I wonder. Those days, of course, this DNA testing was not available. So King Solomon listened deeply to the anguish of the two ladies, both of whom proclaimed to be the mothers of the child. And King Solomon, because he was emotionally intelligent, he was able to give a decision very interestingly. He said the child will be split into two pieces, both of you take a piece each. He gave that judgment, knowing very well that the real mother won't like the child to be harmed. That's where he demonstrated his strong sense of emotional intelligence. He knew the emotion of the mother. So see how a leader demonstrates emotional intelligence. Think of Satya Nadella, who is the chairman of Microsoft. He took charge of Microsoft as an organization when they were facing a mountain to climb. A huge amount of challenges. But now, over the last few years, he has been able to bring the control under so much of steadfastness that the huge corporation like Microsoft, has not only steadied itself but has tremendously been growing in value. How that has been possible? It is attributed. The people who are watching Satya Nadella from the close quarters say that he is a leader who demonstrates tremendously high levels of emotional intelligence. He listens to his team. He listens to the thoughts and the emotions attached with people's speeches, people's words, people's emails. And he gets to the point which is beneath what is being said and what is being written about. All these historical and mythological characters point us in the same direction, that it is good to be self-aware. It is extremely important to be keeping a control on one's senses. It is important to empathize. If all these three characteristics define emotional intelligence, one wonders, how does someone develop this right from childhood? So I looked at chapter number 16, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, where Lord Sri Krishna describes 26 noble qualities. I felt that 5 of them, if we practice them consciously, then we would be able to develop high levels of emotional intelligence. What are those 5? First of all, it's about control of senses. or damaha. We are advised to keep our mind, keep the emotions, recognize that what emotions are trying to take over us, and hence there is a risk of making wrong decisions. That's point number one. Point number two is about purity of mind, or sattva sansuddhi, which means harboring the right thoughts, keeping the right thoughts in one's mind. Thirdly, it's apaishunam, which means that I restrict or restrain myself from finding fault with others. We spoke about Nelson Mandela, 27 years of prison. He knows in his mind that what's happening to him is completely unfair and not justified. But he keeps his sense under control. He harbors only positive thoughts. He rejects all negative thoughts. He doesn't find faults with the rulers. He remains steadfast on his path of opposing apartheid. Point number four, forgiveness, which is kshama. What does it mean? When you know that you have been hurt, you have been troubled by someone, you let it go. You know that the universe will take care of those forces which have harmed us. You do not have to necessarily take revenge yourself. That's about forgiveness. And finally, the fifth one is being straightforward, which means speak your mind and keep your words simple so that the other person understands what you are saying. Even if the other person is not your friend, not someone who's supporting, who's aligned with you, you are able to state what you must state. That's a great quality of a leader. So if a leader needs to be emotionally intelligent, then one has to practice all these 5 qualities right from the time one is young, so that one gets many years to really be an expert in it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening to this and spreading these words amongst many more people. I look forward to our future conversation. Thank you very much.